Hey everybody, welcome back to American History class with Mr. Finn. Today we are continuing our story of the English colonists here in America. Really American colonists at this point because they had come from England. Most people here in America had been born here, considered themselves part of their own colonies, and were really distanced from actual England itself. Some of the people started to feel that, hey, why is England looking to tax us to get money for this war? Shouldn't they already protect us? Plus, we don't get to take part in the English government. So that's not really fair. Some of the people here in the American colonies felt, you know what, it's okay. England is our mother country. We must do our part. We can do whatever we have to do, whatever they say we have to do. And so we have a weird time period where some of the people here in America are starting to feel like, I don't know about England so much, and some of the people here are saying, no, we're definitely part of the English Empire. And so we are going to continue with what is going to happen. Now, if you remember, we talked about the French and Indian War. That is the reason why England went into a depression, which is an economic downturn, and that is the reason why England is going to look to the colonies and say, listen, we protected you. Now it's only right that you pay back some of the money in taxes because it cost a lot of money to come over to the colonies and fight in that war. Now, who is in charge of England? Well, George III. In fact, it is King George III. King George III is the King of England. A few terms here to understand. A few people, because if I have a quiz next class, possibly, I might say, who was the King of England during this time period? And you would write down George III. Now, George III is the king. He does have a prime minister. There is something called Parliament. Let me write that here just so we can see. Parliament. Parliament is the English version of what we consider Congress. And we haven't really got into the breakdown of government yet here in America with the forming of everything, but I'll just tell you this. Congress is in Washington, D.C. today. It is a law-making body of, at this time, men, today, people. So if you belong to Congress, if you're a congressman, you are going to be the people who make the laws. And in England, they have a limited monarchy, meaning that they still have a king, but they do have a Congress. And this is going to be the problem for people here in America. They're going to say, wait a second. You have people to represent, the masses, and they make laws based on what the people want. Wait a second. Who do we have? Who do we have in Parliament from the colonies to tell England what we need? And England saying, no. You can't have any representatives in Parliament. No one's going to represent you. You're colonists. You're not part of us. You're not part of England. And so the American colonists start to say, like, wait. I thought we were kind of in this together. And England's like, no. You're just colonists. You don't have anyone to represent you. We don't really care what you want. You do what we tell you to do. And this rubs people the wrong way. So King George III is the king, but we do have Parliament, and Parliament is going to have a prime minister who's going to start to pass these laws. In fact, let me give you one down here. The Stamp Act is going to be a tax. This is a good example. Tax on paper products. And now what is that? So basically what that means is if you want to send a letter, like today we know this. If you want to send a letter in the mail, you have to buy a stamp, and you put a stamp on the envelope, and you pay a little bit of money for that stamp, and then you send it in the mail, and it goes to wherever you're sending it to. We didn't have that back then. In fact, the Stamp Act is on all paper products. So it's on like newspapers, it's on playing cards, it's on everything. And all of a sudden the colonists over here are saying, wait, we have to pay extra? We We got to pay extra money to send a letter. We got to pay extra money to get playing cards, extra money to have a newspaper. You're going to try and make us pay more money? And so the Stamp Act is a tax. So it's a tax on paper products, and this is going to be a good start to explain why this is going to, what's going to all go wrong here in the colonies. So the colonies are upset by this. The only real response the American colonists can have to getting taxed by the English government is to do something called a boycott, which is to, in this case, not buy, let's just say because there's going to be more acts, not buy stuff. And so whatever the tax is going to be, the American colonists will boycott it, meaning they won't buy it. So again, I'm saying buy stuff. In this case, they're not going to buy what? They're not going to buy paper products. We're just not going to buy it then. Whatever. You're going to put a tax on it, then we're just not going to buy it. Sorry, you're out of luck. A boycott can be, and in this case, is going to be beneficial for the colonists. Because what's going to happen is if you boycott, I'll explain how this all works today, the first time. If you boycott a product, what's going to happen is the seller, follow me here, I know it's going to get a little confusing, seller is going to lose what? A big dollar sign. The seller of whatever this is going to lose money. Now, the people who were selling things in the colonies were actually English merchants, like real life Englishmen, considered real Englishmen by the English government. So, I'm in England, and I'm selling something to the colonists, and I'm making a lot of money. I'm loving it. This is fantastic. The colonists are buying all my stuff. Great. However, the colonists get upset and they boycott my product, meaning they don't do what? They don't buy it. They stop buying my product? Oh my God. If they stop buying my product, what happens? I start to lose money. I'm not happy now because I'm losing money. And I'm here in England, and I'm like, wait a second. Why is the English government taxing these colonists? Because now I'm losing money. So who do I talk to? Well, since I am an English citizen, I talk to my representative in Parliament, and I say, this is an outrage. You need to get rid of this tax. We cannot have this tax. I don't want it. It's hurting me. And so my representative in Parliament brings it to Parliament and says, hey, everyone, the people that I talk to don't like it. They say we shouldn't tax the colonists because they're losing money. And this is hurting real Englishmen here in England. And so what does the result of a boycott mean for something like the Stamp Act? A boycott to the Stamp Act is going to lead to this term. It is called a repeal. A repeal is to roll back, or in this case, I'll just make it simple, cancel the tax. That way it's easy to understand. So let's follow me here. King George III in Parliament put the Stamp Act to try and make money. The colonists get real mad. Oh, that's my unhappy dead face. We got to put our unhappy angry face. Our unhappy angry face, the colonists boycott because they're angry. And so the result is they boycott the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act gets repealed because the English people that are selling it get upset. And then, all of a sudden, once it's repealed and the Stamp Act is canceled, the colonists go from being angry to then being happy. They won. The American colonists are like, yo, we don't have guns. We don't have a lot of guns. We don't have an army. We don't have a navy. We don't have a way to fight back. All we have are these Minutemen, and the Minutemen are what we call militia. Militia are basically common, hope I can see this, make sure I got it on there, good, common people who defend, I'm getting close here, defend their, let's just say land In this case, generally a militia, make sure you can see that. Generally, a militia are people who just live in a small village or town, and they have, guns, and they're just people like, merchants and storemen and farmers and whoever. And if someone tries to come into their area and do something bad, they can join together and form a militia, and they're ready to go at what? At a minute's notice. Like, boom, we're ready to go right away. And that's why they're called Minutemen. That is all that makes up people who can fight at all here in the colonies. And so without any army, navy, or anything else, the colonists go from angry with this Stamp Act to boycotting it to then seeing it repealed, meaning it gets canceled. So they go from angry to happy. We won without much, and we think, all right, we did it. This is fantastic. We stood up to the might of the English Empire, and we won. So there's a lot of notes here. You can even pause it to write it down. And so this is a good thing, but little preview, England's not going away. England will not stand for its colonies to stand up to them and have it feel like, oh man, they got us. No. England's not about that. England's not going to be happy that this happened. George III is not going to be happy that this happened. And so this is not the end of the story by any means. Let me get all this out of here so you're not confused about today's assignment. But we have done this before, so I'm happy to say I don't need to explain it too much. A timeline. Because a timeline, especially at this time, is important. We have a lot of events coming up in a row that are going to be leading to more conflict between the American colonists and England. So, on this timeline, I want to see events leading to revolution. Now, I do not want to see events that happen during the American Revolution. We are not there yet. What I only want to see are the events leading up to it. So when did the Stamp Act happen? There's other acts that come in. There are some other things that happen that I don't want to give you right now. I want to see what you can find with your research. So on this timeline, let's keep it pretty small. Let's find 5 dates. Now, on the timeline, if you remember the way we did, you guys did a fantastic job on the first timeline. Timelines need, 1, they need dates. They also need description, telling me what happened. So you can't just put the date. I need to know what happened. So if you say Stamp Act, I'm not going to tell you the date because then you'll have a free one on that date. And then I need a visual, why do I say visual representation when I could just use the term a picture. I want you to draw your picture. So I'm just going to give you a hint. If I was going to do the Stamp Act, I would put down the Stamp Act, put the date, and then I might draw guess it, might draw a stamp. And I would draw that. If you can, most of you, I want to see this color. That's how you will get full credit for the assignment. So again, 5 dates on a timeline. Make sure they go in the correct order. Remember, if we're going to the future, we're going to the right. If we're going back to the past, we're going to the left. So make sure your dates go in order on your timeline with these descriptions and pictures with color. And today is the day to do it. It's 5 dates. Should be able to get it done. And I need it today because I need it for participation and attendance. I'll see you next class. Have a good one.